Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, the Culling Games official trailer is here, and I'm here to do a deep dive for it. Now, if for some reason you are on this video and you have not actually watched the trailer that dropped today, please do yourself a favor and go watch it and then come back. So this video is going to be split into two different parts. So one is going to be for anime onlys that involves no spoilers. And then the second part is going to be for manga readers like myself that obviously know everything that's going on. So spoilers are not necessarily an issue. So if you are a manga reader, just go ahead, skip all the way to that part. I'll have it timestamped down below. And if you're an anime only, I will just say that you don't have to worry. I will not spoil. I am only going to use information that has been presented to you in both Season 1, Season 2, and Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie. So as long as you've watched those three things, you have no worries when it comes to me potentially spoiling. I am here to be just a resource and to help explain things because Jujutsu Kaisen is, it's one of my favorite series of all time. I've been reading it since the very first chapter that it released back in, I believe it was 2018, like October of 2018. And the anime, as you guys know, has just been absolutely phenomenal. Even season 1 was great. And then they just took it to a whole nother level with season 2. And it looks like season 3 is following up right on that with the direction, the animation, the sound design, everything. It's just, I feel so lucky to be a Jujutsu Kaisen fan in, 2025, almost 2026. And I will say that JJK is a series that on rewatch or rereads, you get so much more each time that you do that. Because Gege, the mangaka of the series, he doesn't necessarily hold your hand with everything. He outlines basic principles, and that's about it. He'll go in depth on certain things, but he expects you to pick it up, learn it, maybe go through it a couple times until it clicks in your brain. He's not always going to remind you of everything. And I personally love that style of writing. That's why JJK just clicks for me so well. But I have reread the series probably about 15 times now, and I've rewatched it probably close to 5 times. So I would recommend, first of all, just if you haven't already, to prep for season 3, go ahead and rewatch or reread, whatever you want to do. You get amazing benefit out of it and a ton of enjoyment, and it just preps you better. And, if you don't feel like doing that, totally fine. Let me know. I was thinking about just making a video about kind of like a checklist before going into season 3. But anyways, that's besides the point. We are here. We're going to break down all of this trailer that we got to see. So we're going to start with the anime only, no spoilers, and let's just get right into it. I am going to show reference images that I'm talking about. I'm not actually going to show the actual trailer in the video, so it will not have the audio from it, because I know there's a portion of the opening by King Nu, the same people who did specials. That's not going to be in here, and also hearing voice actors for characters that we haven't seen yet. You're not going to hear them in this video, but I will put up reference images for important things that I'm going to be talking about. So the trailer opens up talking about how Noritoshi Kamo has set up a death game between those he granted curse techniques and those awakened sorcerers from times past. So obviously Noritoshi Kamo, they're referring to whatever that is inhabiting Suguru Geto's body that we found out after Gojo was sealed during the Shibuya incident, that of course that is not Geto. And through Choso, the death painting womb, we find out that whatever's inside Geto's body was also once Noritoshi Kamo, because fake Geto even says that was one of the many names that he has had, meaning he's been hopping around from body to body for a very long period of time, because Noritoshi Kamo, the original, the most evil, vile sorcerer in history, that was hundreds of years ago in the Kamo clan. And he's saying that's one of many. So he's just been bouncing around, and he obviously put into motion pretty much everything that we've seen since JJK started. And it was all a means to an end to get Gojo out of the picture so that he could initiate the culling games. And like he says, this is a death game between sorcerers. And we learned at the end of season 2 that after he cast Idol Transfiguration, that he was able to, one, awaken the sorcerers from the past, that he had basically turned them into cursed objects and had regular people from modern day ingest them, similar to how Yuji ingested a finger from Sukuna. And then with Idol Transfiguration, he made their bodies strong enough to be capable of withstanding that sorcerer's power, that cursed object. So they're going to be waking up. So they're going to be sorcerers from the past. And then you also have modern day. So people who were born and live in the modern day, they had their brains altered, similar to how Junpei, Yoshino Junpei, all the way back in season 1, that we know Mahito and Yuji, that whole situation. But Mahito actually altered Junpei's brainstem to make him capable of wielding sorcery, because he was able to see cursed spirits. That's how he could see Mahito, but he could not wield Jujutsu. So basically, those are the two versions of the sorcerers that then are going to be thrust into this death game between each other. So that's obviously where season 2 left off. And we kind of go through seeing some more new images. Obviously, in this trailer for an anime only, there's going to be so many things that you purposely are not supposed to know what is going on. Tons of new characters and just flashes of things, because you haven't read it, so you don't know. So it is going to be a lot of mystery and intrigue. And like I said, I'm not going to ruin that for you guys. So I will only really touch on, really awesome shots, but really just the basics of the trailer, so that you guys feel like you have a good groundwork going into season 3 when it starts. So we get to see a bunch of images of different sorcerers that we've never seen before. We get to see an image here of Megami, or we see basically somebody in a Jujutsu High uniform walking away from someone in a wheelchair here. And then it just says the culling games. We get to see these giant barriers, these black barriers going up into the sky. And then we have Megami speaking to Itadori here, saying that he needs his power. Next, we transition to a voiceover of Tokyo. So we get to see a bunch of cursed spirits jumping out and saying that Tokyo is basically just a free-for-all zone. It's in pandemonium, because we also know that Noritoshi Kamo, or Fake Ghetto, however you want to refer to him, we know that he released literally at bare minimum, he released 10 million cursed spirits at the end of season 2. And all of those cursed spirits have proliferated throughout the country and also spawned in each one of these barriers. And we get to see them coming out, because we know at the end of season 2, we saw Yuji out on a bridge, and he clapped to attract cursed spirits to his location. So seemingly this is those cursed spirits chasing Yuji throughout the city, and they're just talking about the fact that anybody could die at any time, because it is just pure chaos, and it is cursed spirits are just out and about in the wild all throughout Tokyo. And we get to see Yuji dispatching some cursed spirits here. We get a quick little image of Sukuna sitting on his mountain of bones, inside of his innate domain that we've seen throughout the series. We get to see a couple familiar faces, Yuki, Yuta, Maki, and Megami. They're all walking down a tunnel, and then we get a shot of them with Choso added to the shot as well. They're in some sort of location that is all white. You don't really know what it is, but then they're basically just going through, all looking shocked. And then we have Yuji in a full new outfit. So this orange, basically track looking suit. And we get some really cool images of him walking into somewhat of what looks like a destroyed parking garage slash building. You know, there's kind of cement pillars and everything broken, and really cool lighting because it seems to be like beams of light shining down over his face from above. And we get to see then a new character here, someone who has been mentioned in the previous seasons, but I'm not going to, talk about it here, because we do get to see another character, a new character, that they refer to him as Kin-chan. So, like I said, I'm not going to spoil it. It's not a huge spoiler or anything, but he was referenced. So if you are an anime only and you want to go back and try to figure out who this character is prior to the season starting, let me know in the comments down below if you figure it out. And then we get to see, like I said, this new character with him. We get to see Choso here in kind of what looks to be an underground tunnel with these really cool yellow lights. And he's just talking about how brothers serve as an example to their older brothers, serve as an example to their younger brothers. And we know, obviously, Choso's character revolves heavily around his blood ties with his siblings. That's why everything happened in season 2 after his two siblings, Eso and Kechizu, died at the hands of Yuji and Nobara. That's why he was after Yuji in the first place. But then in the events of season 2, through basically almost killing Yuji, he came to the conclusion that Yuji was actually one of his relatives, was one of his brothers. And he talks about his ties through his curse technique, blood manipulation. He's able to basically sense strong changes in those individuals that he's blood related to. And since Yuji almost died through their fight, it actually triggered basically the synergistic effect between his curse technique and Yuji. So that's why he wants to refer to Yuji as his brother at the end of season 2, and clearly coming into season 3, he's still here with him and keeping the brother motif alive and continuing. We see him fighting against, again, another unknown character to anime onlys here. Then we get a very interesting scene here talking about the angel's curse technique can open the back of the prison realm. So obviously we know Gojo is trapped inside the prison realm, and in Shibuya, one of our main goals was to free him, which we actually totally failed at, and Fake Geto escaped with the prison realm here. And, we just leave off like that. So Gojo's still gone. And so he's not going to be just showing up to save the day. But obviously our team is still pursuing an alternative or a way to get him out of the prison realm. Because at the end of the day, he is the strongest sorcerer, and we definitely are going to need his assistance. But it does present a very cool opportunity going into season 3 from a narrative and writing perspective, because while Gojo is present, he is so strong that he basically eliminates threats just with his presence and can be the get out of jail free card for the good guys. So now that Gojo is not here, they do not have a get out of jail free card, and they have to actually put everything on their back instead of putting it on Gojo's back. So it's great from a storytelling perspective for all our other cast of characters since Gojo is removed. So clearly this angel character, we get to see her floating in the sky, looking absolutely majestic here. I will just say it's not anything new, but the art in Jujutsu Kaisen, especially since season 2, has just been phenomenal. Absolutely love the artistic style that they choose to represent Gege's art style from the manga. And it's, like I said, I just feel blessed and very happy to be a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, because they clearly know what they're doing with this series, and they're going to continue to just create amazing things. So then we get to see a cool image of the prison realm and a little snippet of Gojo here, because you got to throw Gojo into the trailer. People want to see him, even though he's locked up. He's gone. He's not going to be in the next season. You got to get a little snippet of him just to give the people a taste of what they want. So then we get to see a quick image of Fake Ghetto talking about this location has been chosen for people to fight, like people to kill each other in. So he is just talking to them. And then we get to see our boy Yuta Okkotsu showing up in front of Yuji. And clearly we know from the end of season 2 that one of the 5 orders from Jujutsu headquarters, 2 of the orders was, 1, Yuji's delayed execution, his suspended execution was removed, and it is to be taken care of immediately. And Yuta Okkotsu was appointed Yuji's executioner. So that's obviously where this is coming from. So Yuji is trying to run and deal with Yuta, which obviously Yuta is a special grade sorcerer. He is exceptionally powerful, and our boy Yuji has grown like exponentially since the beginning of the series, considering the time frame that the first seasons actually happen in is very short. So Yuji is incredible, but he's not at Yuta's level yet. So this is going to definitely be a struggle. But our boy Yuji is going to try to find a way out, and it talks about the fact that the chaos caused by the curses grows more intense. Obviously, like I said, 10 million curses just unleashed upon Japan. The general public doesn't even know they exist. They don't even know like sorcerers exist and cursed. Remember, it's all kept under wraps. It's all very secret. So this is just pure chaos, like they describe it. It's literally Jujutsu terrorism at a country level scale. So this is bad. It's about as bad as it can get. So then this is where we get to see a shot of Yuji fighting off Yuta, the blade literally right above his head. So clearly they are really getting after it against each other. And then this is where the new opening, we get to see, some cool action shots. We get to see Yuji and Megami together. We get a shot of a jail cell with all of the talismans all over it that we've seen multiple times. We saw it in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 with Yuta when he's sitting in the chair when Gojo first shows up. And then we also saw it in the beginning of the series with Yuji when he wakes up in the cell with Gojo as well. So this time, Gojo obviously is not in the cell with him. He's in his own in the prison realm. But we do get to see actually Panda in this panel. And you can also see another character with a sword here and a button-up shirt. Not much of a spoiler, but it seems, you can try to see who you think that other character is in the cell with him. I will not spoil it, but you can clearly see it's Panda. There's no other character that looks like Panda because he's a panda. So it continues. We get some really beautiful shots of some scenery, just the giant letters of the culling games. You get to see those giant black barriers like all the way going up into the sky. Then you get a really cool little snippet of a Tengen. We get to see this white character here with 4 eyes looking all really interesting. But on screen, it says Tengen Star Plasma Vessel 6 eyes. And it's kind of connecting them all as like a diagram. Then we just get to see that, it's basically the culling games is literally a game. The game is going to start. And, we know Megami's main motivation here is that Sumiki was one of those sorcerers that was marked. So she is going to awaken to a curse technique. And Megami, obviously, he is a sorcerer just for Sumiki. So obviously his purpose behind everything is keeping her safe and, protecting her life. He wants her to lead a simple and good life because she's a genuinely good person. So his motivation is trying to make sure that she does not have to participate in the game. And then this is where the new opening theme by King Nu plays. It's called Izo. I really liked the little snippet that we got of it. I'm super interested in hearing the entirety of it and obviously seeing the visuals for the opening because all of them in Jujutsu Kaisen have been amazing between, obviously Kai Kai Kitan and Vivid Vice and Ao no Sumika, and then obviously specials. So it's like we've seen so many good ones. So I know this is going to be great. So we get to see Yuji and Yuta kind of going at it. We get another snippet of Maki who seemingly being in a fight with that same individual who was fighting Choso that we see earlier in the trailer. We get to see more of Choso here. And then now we get to see Yuji still in that orange jumpsuit headbutting this character, like I said, that has technically been named, but I will not just like straight up tell you who it is. But he headbutts this guy, and this is actually the character who has the voice actor for Zoro from One Piece. So a fantastic casting because this character is one of my personal favorites. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is absolutely stacked with awesome characters that I love, but this guy in particular is incredible. And in this season, he really shines. He absolutely shines. He brings high octane energy and just be excited for when he is on screen. So we get to continue. They kind of seem to obviously be in some sort of conflict with each other. Then we get to see Maki for a short panel cutting up these guys in like these white outfits. And then we get the next section where we see Megami for just a second, and he's with this guy who, again, this is going to be, like I said, it's just going to be a ton of new characters flooding in, and it's going to be a mixture of ancient sorcerers from the past and also just new modern sorcerers. And we got this guy who seemingly is trying to tell a joke, and he's wearing an outfit that literally half of his body is just naked. So I have to try to sit here and act like I don't know who this is. Obviously I do. He is incredible. Like the Culling Games introduces just some absolutely top tier characters. We have these super crazy strong hype characters. We have the like character driven depth focused characters, and then we've got the absolutely ridiculous, hilarious, almost gag like characters, but the ensemble just comes together in such a fantastic way. So we continue from that guy, and we get to see seemingly someone, another new character. He has a gavel, and so like from a courtroom, and he's saying something about like a retrial. Then we get some dialogue about how all sorcerers tell lies, and this is where we see Yuji getting blasted through a building. Then we see another woman that we don't know who she is. Then another guy who we don't know who he is yet, but he has blonde, long hair, and he's just talking about, how all sorcerers tell lies. Then we get to see a shot of Megami where there is literally a car flying through the air at him. And then it cuts and we see him summoning demon dogs. And then the trailer ends with Yuji charging up a fistful of cursed energy. And then, like I said, that's where it ends. The Culling Games is coming to us on January 8th. Obviously, if you are someone who did go see the Jujutsu Kaisen Execution movie, which I did personally, the first couple, I believe 2 episodes, are just going to be basically what was in that screening. So, I mean, I'm more than happy to rewatch that, absolutely. But if you are an anime only, just remember those first 2 episodes are going to be basically you rewatching it. And then in the third week, we're going to pick up with totally brand new stuff. But obviously, if you didn't go see it, January 8th, first episode. I hope you guys are super excited because I know I am. Like I said before, let me know if you want me, if you're an anime only and you want me to make any like spoiler free explanation videos, like a checklist of before season 3 starts of where characters are, where the plot is, any of the power system stuff, whatever it may be. Just let me know down below and I'd be more than happy to do so. But if you, like I said, the next section is actually going to be for my manga readers. So this is officially the point where anime onlys, peace out. Thank you guys for showing up here. You're fantastic. And I will catch you guys in the, when the episodes actually start airing. I'm going to be covering each one, and I'm going to do the same thing where I have an anime only version and then a spoiler version. So spoilers ahead, get out of here. You guys are all great. So now here we are, manga readers. We are here for the official trailer of the Culling games, and it's about to get lit. So we get an opening shot here of Kenjaku looking totally creepy. It has a very interesting sketch style here, just talking about, he set up the Culling games. We get a quick, just a quick little shot here of Kashimo. He seems to be standing in a parking garage, and we know it's him because he is holding his bow staff over his shoulder. I don't know if we ever got a name for that staff, but it's the one that he uses to also charge his additional electricity into, so he can fire the shirt hit effects from his staff as well. So quick little snippet of Kashimo here, and then we get a quick shot of Higuruma with his button, because we know obviously his lawyer's button, but he's covered in blood. This is seemingly the moment after he murdered the judge and the opposing counsel from his trial, where he basically lost the plot, and where he first manifested his curse technique as well. So that's the first time we see Judge Man come out, because he's like, I demand a retrial. And yeah, he basically just kills those two guys. So that seems to be from that scene. Then we got a very quick snippet of the distorted sky around a building. Obviously, that's from Uro Takako's sky manipulation. So that's in Sendai Colony. Then we get to see someone sitting in a room with a bunch of receipts hanging up. We only see their arms kind of on the table, but obviously that seems to me to be Reggie. We follow up with Megami kind of walking away from Sumiki in the hospital. So obviously after she awakened from her slumber, we obviously know that that's not Sumiki. That is actually Yorozu that is sitting there. So, which is still actually pretty crazy. So throughout this, I'm just going to kind of interject here for a second, because I'm just rifling through it because I'm just so excited. But I am going to put some reference images up, but not for every single scene that we see here. And I'm not going to play any of the audio. If you haven't seen the trailer, please go watch it. But I'm assuming if you're here, you have, because I'm just going to be going in super detailed about pretty much every frame. I'm not going to show every frame, but the ones that I kind of stick on and talk about more, I definitely will bring up the reference panel. So then we get to see the barriers, which I absolutely love the way they drew this and kind of gave the perspective, because we knew each one of the barriers, they're obviously a huge diameter, and we saw them in the manga basically just going straight up into the sky. And they're doing this here as well, but it kind of gives a different perspective shift because it kind of has a curve to it. And you also you get the clouds around it, and it just really gives you the scale of these barriers and just how absolutely insane this would actually be to happen. This is a level of jujutsu terrorism that the world has never seen. So Kenjaku really jacked things up here, but it looks amazing. Obviously, all of this trailer is just like chef's kiss, so beautiful. Season 3 already looks insane. Mappa, everybody who works there, kudos to you. The director, I believe it's Shoto Goshizono, he completely understands the tone, the style, and the way to direct Jujutsu Kaisen. So, being a Jujutsu Kaisen fan and seeing this like a super fan, this is absolutely incredible. And I know you guys are probably just over the moon right now, as well as I am. So we're going to continue. We get to see Yuji and Megumi talking. You know, Megumi's like, hey, Yuji, I need your power. We get to see the shots of Tokyo where Yuji's just running through there, exercising cursed spirits. We then get, you know, one of the probably the only times we're going to see Sukuna in all of season 2 or season 3. He's just sitting up on his bone pile, you know, just chilling. We get Yuji and Choso. We get to see our group of heroes going to meet with Tengen for the first time in the Tomb of the Stars. And this is where we get all these shocked faces from each character. So to me, this is the moment where Tengen explains that in their ascended form, they are now currently more cursed spirit than anything else, meaning they are an eligible target for cursed spirit manipulation. Kenjaku, Geto's body, he has it. So obviously, that's the moment where everyone basically like craps their pants, because even if they, you know, the levity of the situation really shone through right there, because seizing Tengen, that's just GG's basically. Or at least, you know, we know it doesn't end up being, but it becomes very, very close to being GG's here. So then we continue on, and this is where we get some new shots, because obviously we have a bunch of shots from the Execution movie. I know maybe not all manga readers have seen the Execution movie. If you have, the first 2 episodes, you know, this is going to be rehashing it on January 8th when it comes out. So just remember that, which I myself have absolutely no problem just rewatching those first 2 episodes because they were awesome. But this is where we get to see new shots, and we get Yuji in his undercover outfit when him and Megumi go to the underground fight club that Hikari runs to try to recruit him. And so he's got like an orange jumpsuit on, looks sick. They're walking into that parking structure, that building that they broke to create, you know, like an arena. And it has this awesome golden light shining from above, because obviously all the spectators, all the non-sorcerers are up at the higher level looking down at the fight. So it's really cool perspective because they're shining the lights down to the bottom. We have Yuji walking in. You know, you got the rando guy who tried to intimidate Megumi when they first showed up. But they're walking into the fight. This is obviously right before Yuji sees that Panda is the one that he is fighting, and they go at it and basically fake defeat him so that Yuji can get invited to go talk to Hikari. We get to see our first image of Hikari here. It looks absolutely incredible. He's got the blonde hair. That is his official color design. We see it in the manga when we get the official color panels from Gege. Obviously, in Hikari's volume cover, he seems to have purple hair. And I know there's a good chunk of people that wanted him to have purple hair. And don't get me wrong, the purple looks sick. But my hope, and I think what a lot of people kind of back then were hoping, was that when he enters Jackpot and, you know, the music starts playing and he gets his unlimited cursed energy, that his hair transforms purple, just to give, you know, it would look amazing. I think it would be a sick way to like indicate the transformation and how that he's in a state of jackpot. Obviously, outside of the absolutely overflowing infinite cursed energy, and the fact that literally music plays from his, it's the private pure love train that plays. I know some people might be hoping it's some sort of like funk, like techno crazy beat, which honestly would sound sick too, because I know there's a bunch of fan edits online. I'm not like on Twitter or anything, but I've seen some stuff on YouTube that is pretty sick, and it does fit Hikari. But we know that the music that plays, because it's 4 minutes and 11 seconds, and it's literally Private Pure Love Train. So it's from his favorite romance series. I still think it's going to be incredible. It'll match him for sure. But we see Hikari here, telling, bring it on. This is where we get to see Kirara and Hikari. And, Kirara is just talking about that they love it when, Kin-chan is hot. And this is where we then cut to Naoya and Choso just throwing hands. That fight is sick. They really amped it up, of course, in the anime like they do. I mean, that's what animes are there for. They're supposed to take the source material and take it up a notch. So absolutely love that fight. Super excited to see it again. And this is where we get to see our first image of Angel. So we get Angel here looking super majestic. And not going to lie, Hana looks significantly prettier. Not that she was like, she's not bad looking whatsoever in the manga, but in this style, she looks significantly prettier. But she's just looking sweet. We got gold sunbeams coming down, and she's just floating up above the city, talking about, obviously that her curse technique can open up the back of the prison realm. So that's kind of like our go-to win condition, or our go-to get Gojo out of jail condition, because we know that Tengen is in possession of the back of the prison realm. The front lies with Kenjaku, and only if you have the front can you just like open it normal, so like gate open instead of close. But for us, since we have the back, you either need the inverted spear of heaven, black rope, or the angel's curse technique. And we don't know where the inverted spear of heaven is, because Gojo either destroyed it or took it overseas somewhere, because after the events of Hidden Inventory and Toji, he was like, never again is this thing coming anywhere near me. And then 2 was the black rope, which all of it was exhausted. And Miguel's village, where they, would create it, is gone. So the only option to get him out is angels and their curse technique, which obviously we know they eventually do get him out. We of course get our little, our little cameo of our blue-eyed king here, Gojo. They got to put him in there. He's the money maker, even though he's not anywhere in the culling games at all because he's sealed. They still got to get him in the trailer and in the season. So we get him talking here, and then we get some more shots. We get to see Kenjaku when he is presenting each of the non-sorcerers with the option to leave the barrier. So if they were someone who lived inside of the barrier, they get the option to exit. And this is Yuji's old classmate, which I cannot remember her name. Forgive me. This is him talking with her when he is taking her out. And this is also where he talks about, dreams. So being asleep is the realm. It's like the realm between curses, like the cursed realm. So it's a very cool dialogue there. So he's walking her out. Then we get some more, obviously, Yuta showing up to Shibuya or to Tokyo to hunt down Yuji. We know, obviously, ultimately he does win that fight, but then immediately heals Yuji with reverse curse technique to bring him back, but get the higher-ups off his back. So he fulfilled the binding vow that he made with them to execute Yuji, but also now for the second time, the higher-ups believe Yuji is dead, but then he obviously is not. We get some more shots of them, fighting each other. And then we get some new shots. We get to see an image of the Kogane popping up, and it's right when Megami is knocking on the barrier of Tokyo Colony number 1. And that's when, obviously when they're about to enter, that's when they get the Kogane. Yuji already has one because Sukuna was already registered as a player, because that's one of the conditions that Kenjaku had for turning all of the ancient reincarnated sorcerers into cursed objects, was their guaranteed participation in the culling game. So this is actually going to be Megami's Kogane here. Then we get a shot of Kusakabe and Panda. Panda is restrained in a jail cell with all the talismans around. We know that Kusakabe frees Panda because of Masamichi Yaga as a favor to him, because it's like Panda is like his son. And then we get some more really awesome dynamic shots. We get someone in like this dark alleyway and the light flickers for literally like a portion of a second. And I have tried to pause it and see who it is, because my first thought was it's like Kuroushi, or Kuroushi, the special grade cockroach curse spirit from Sendai, because we know that they were like hiding out basically until the stalemate got broken, or until Druve specifically was taken out. And Yuta ends up taking him out, so then he becomes active again. But when I look at the little image that I can get, it doesn't look like him. So honestly, let me know down below if you guys can tell who that is. We get some more shots talking about how the culling games. We get a really cool panel of Tengen, and it's talking about how the Six Eyes, Tengen, and the Star Plasma Vessel are all connected by fate. Obviously, we've seen that multiple times, like through hidden inventory, but then Tengen also explains how Kenjaku has been stopped multiple times by users of the Six Eyes. So that whole trifecta is just connected together, because only one Six Eyes user can exist at one time, and then, they're just intrinsically linked with Tengen. This is where we get to hear a portion of the new opening called Aizo by King Nu, same artist that created Specials from season 2 once the Shibuya incident started. So I really enjoyed the little snippet that we've got so far from it. I'm really excited to hear the whole thing and also see the visuals accompanied along with it. We get some more of Yuji and Yuta fighting. We get an awesome, I don't know why, but they really, really, really love Naoya. They love Naoya because he looks so sick in like every single action shot that he has. Because we get a quick shot of Maki frozen in a frame from his projection sorcery, and that's after he freezes her. This is during their like final battle against each other, or this is during the Zenin massacre, when Naoya is basically the only sorcerer left. He is the, captain, the leader of the Hiei. So this is them fighting, but he catches her in the projection sorcery and he just crushes her with a punch. It just looks incredible. But then we get to see some more of Choso in his fight. We get Yuji and Hikari going at it. Yuji's like, just listen to me. And Hikari's like, no way. They're headbutting each other. We get to see Maki dispatching a member of the Kukuru unit. So obviously the Kukuru unit is the male members of the Zenin clan that did not manifest curse techniques. So they don't have curse techniques, but they are required to train in martial arts and cursed energy manipulation rigorously. And it's actually the unit that Maki was a part of prior to her joining Jujutsu High. So this is her just absolutely eviscerating the Kukuru unit in that one room that they like try to trap her in after she kills her father, Ogi. She looks awesome. Then we get to see our goat, Takaba, telling his absolutely awful Wi-Fi joke. This is just after he shows up to save, save, but like intervene with Megami, because Megami is up against Reggie and Hazanoki, and obviously he's also taken some damage because of the girl. It's not Rin. Maybe it is Rin. It's the girl with like the the hair tail that looks like a scorpion tail. Forgive me, can't remember her name, but he's taken some damage. So this is when Takaba first shows up and actually helps him out, and he's just telling his awful joke. And just the fact that this dude is half naked is this character is incredible. He's so busted, but he's also at the same time so hilarious. I mean, the Culling Games is just chocked full of incredible characters. Kashimo, Higuruma, Takaba. Like, I mean, it's character after character after character that just have such a lasting impact on myself and just the story in general. Then we get to see a quick snippet of Judge Man. This is where Higuruma calls for a retrial. This is the first time we get to see his Shikigami form. And then we get to see Yuji just flying through a building. Well, not choosing to fly, but this is after he comes into the barrier in Tokyo Colony number 1, and the jet girl, Haba, maybe Haba is her name, she just blitzes him out of the sky through the building, but then, he ends up just beating her by throwing a rock with cursed energy. But it looks exceptional. Then we get our first visual of Reggie Star here. He's covered, in his receipts. He's ready to go. This is obviously where he's talking to Megami after Megami shows up thinking that he's being taken to Higuruma. Honestly, I am so pumped, and you guys can, dunk on me all you want, but the Megami versus Reggie fight is one of my all-time favorite fights in the entirety of Jujutsu Kaisen. Say what you want. I know it's not the biggest, the flashiest, but I think it is such a phenomenal representation of what like two grade 1 sorcerers going at it that basically aren't gods looks like, where it comes down to, strategics, like your tactics, basically being a con artist, because Reggie talks about how sorcerers are all con artists. So you're like, trying to keep your cards close to your chest while getting your opponent to reveal theirs and take each card away from them as you pick away at each other. But it has awesome close combat, also utilization of curse techniques, and Megami, pulling off a big move with his domain expansion inside the gymnasium. So, sorry, just went on a little tangent here, but I cannot wait to see that fight, because Megami is one of my favorite characters. He gets tons of crap online, but I don't care because I love him as a character. I think he's amazing. The 10 Shadows is my favorite curse technique in the whole series. So if you're going to be here, you're going to hear me talk about Megami, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So speaking of Megami, we see him in the next shot in a car. He's on top of a parking structure or building, and a car is literally flying at him. This is when they're going to recruit Hikari, and this is when him and Panda are fighting against Kirara. And Kirara is using her love rendezvous curse technique. So it's the Southern Cross motif, but it's basically the car is flying at him because of her curse technique. They're marked with the same symbol, and so it's attracting them. So this is when the car is flying at him, and then we get to see Megami using demon dogs. Obviously, the demon dog is actually summoned before the car situation, but that's besides the point. And then the trailer ends with Yuji charging up a fistful of cursed energy. And to me, it looks like he's in the theater that he finds Higuruma in when he first goes to get his points, and their fight ensues. So that is where the trailer ends. Obviously, it says that January 8th is when the season 3 is going to premiere, and it says also part 1. So at least what I'm thinking is, since it is split into 2 parts and we didn't really get to see much of the latter part of the culling games, it seems to me that this first part of season 3 is going to end with the conclusion of Tokyo Colony number 1. So we know post Shibuya, we get Yuji versus Yuta, we get the Zenin clan succession. Well, it's actually Zenin clan succession, Yuji versus Yuta. Then we go speak to Tengen, kind of get the game plan, learn all about the info dump about the culling games and Kenjaku. Then we go straight to Maki with the Zenin clan massacre, so the perfect preparation arc. So we got all that. And then we have Yuji and Megami recruiting Hikari. So that's going to be a couple episodes as well. And then we actually enter the colonies. And it's going to be Tokyo Colony number 1 is where we start, because we have Yuji and Megami going after Higuruma to get points. But then we have Hikari going to Tokyo Colony number 2 with Panda to get Kashimo's points. And then Yuta was going to Sendai. So it's like, seems to me part 1, especially from what we see in the trailer, it went all the way up to Reggie. So Tokyo Colony number 1 ends with the fight between Megami and Reggie. So that's what my thought is. Let me know down below if you guys kind of are thinking something different. But then I think part 2 is going to pick back up, and it's going to go Sendai, Tokyo Colony number 2, Sakurajima, and then we'll see, we'll see if we get anything revolving around the Tomb of the Stars and Kenjaku and Yuki and Choso and all that. I've seen things breaking down. I've tried to kind of do it myself, like breaking down the amount of chapters that season 2 covered for Shibuya, and then taking that and translating it to episodes. And I think from my calculations, because there's tons of stuff online regarding where season 2 should end, between, obviously the craziest cliffhanger would be Sukuna taking over Megami. But I don't think we're going to get enough chapters to get to that point. So my thought is either we're going to end where Kenjaku is showing up at the Tomb of the Stars, or we're going to end with the completion of their fight. So the Kenjaku versus Yuki, Choso, and Tengen. And Kenjaku basically winning and gaining Tengen. So let me know down below what you think. Obviously, this has been a long one, so I appreciate anybody who has made it here through this incredible yap session. Jujutsu Kaisen does that to me. I could just talk about it all day, all night, and honestly not get tired of it at all. So, that's why I make videos. But also, if you are a manga reader, I do cover manga on my channel as well. I cover One Piece, Kagurabachi, and Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. I am behind on Modulo, but I am going to be posting a video covering chapter 15 from last week and 16 that's going to drop tomorrow. So I don't read any of the leaks, so I'm only going off the official release. But if you'd like to hear my thoughts on Modulo as well, just head on over to those videos. So again, I appreciate you, anybody who's made it this far, and I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.